Yeah, please come, Yogesh.
Very good morning, sir.
Please sit down, Yogesh. Yogesh, we'll like to hear from you about your brief introduction.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was born in Fatehabad district of Haryana, sir, but my father was in the army. So mostly I've been all over the country, sir. Dehradun, Pathankot, Ambala, Agra, Bathinda, Bhuj, Chandigarh. Then, sir, he retired in 2011 and he shifted to Haryana government, sir, as Gram Sachiv. So
No need to tell about parents. Just come to your own achievements.
Yes, sir. Then, sir, I graduated from National Law School, Bangalore in 2016. I worked in the corporate sector for 1.5 years. I was lucky enough to clear civil services in 2021. So I'm a 22 batch Indian Defence Estate Service officer. I'm currently posted as Chief Executive Officer, Subatu and Juto. Both are small cantonments in Himachal Pradesh, sir. And free time, sir, I like to read about linguistics as much as I can and watch some historical drama, sir.
So, Yogesh, you are with the IDES, right? And you have joined.
Yes, sir.
Even your own work,
Yes,
not
sir,
no
I'm-
longer a trainee. So, tell me, it is said that for India, the future wars will be fought in seas. So, how far it is true?
Yes, sir. So I remember a comment from K.M. Panikkar, who used to be one of the stalwarts in strategic thinking. He said India's destiny would be written on its seas, sir. So there are a couple of things that make that a correct statement. So one, 95% of the volume by traffic, the trade volume, sir, enters India through its ports, sir. Two, sir, the geography of the region is such that any country having a strategic foothold in any of the islands surrounding us could blockade us or could force us to make concessions, sir. Third, sir, an example of this was played out by Pakistan placing Karachi as its capital initially, but soon realized that the geography of the region is such that any country could blockade a capital, and then hence they had to shift their capital to Islamabad later, sir. So, sir, and another, sir, I'll just take a few seconds more on this. So the British occupation of India is another example of how the destiny of the country is
So, you
intermittently
agree with
linked.
that?
Yes, sir.
So, tell me, how is India prepared for a sea war with China?
Yes, sir. So once we are enhancing our own maritime capabilities, sir. The recent operations, anti-piracy operations that we carried out in the Persian Gulf are a good indicator of our enhanced capabilities, sir. So Indian Navy has been prepping itself for shore landing, sir. Seen by its attempt to acquire Shinmawa aircraft from Japan. So the third, sir, we've at the strategic level we've partnered with our friends in the Quad, sir. Which then, sir, we've also played a significant role in the security situation by doing the strategic Colombo dialogue, sir, and being partners in the Indian Ocean region, sir. So, sir, we're taking a few steps.
All right. Tell me, you are law graduate also. So this Uniform Civil Code, there's a lot of criticism about live-in relations. Now, is it violative of Article 21 and right to privacy?
So, the current Uttarakhand draft, I've had a cursory glance at it, sir. And within the cursory glance itself, sir, I think the two provisions of compulsory registration of live-in relationships and consequent penalization upon failure to do so, I think, sir, directly violate Article 21 and many Supreme Court judgments to the same effect, sir.
So is it subject to judicial review? Judicial review can be done.
Yes, sir.
You have worked with ICICI Bank.
Yes, sir.
The regulators have, the general feeling is that on Paytm Bank, the RBI has been extra harsh. And in the name of, basically, financial discipline, they have put a lot of embargoes, which is not good in this kind of scenario when we are so much dependent on digital banking. What do you say?
So, while I haven't had the opportunity to examine the issue in detail, sir, again at a surface level, sir, there has been a lot of criticism of the Reserve Bank, sir. But at the same time, sir, I think so RBI had issued notices to the same effect to Paytm and other banks repeatedly. So this was not the first notice to Paytm to comply by KYC norms, sir, and holding of amount norms, sir. It was third or the fourth notice, sir, and I think RBI is well within its powers to ensure strict compliance.
How do you assess the new criminal laws? You think it is going to make police a little more powerful, extra powerful?
Sir, looking at the provisions of the new criminal procedure code, sir, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Samhita, sir, I think it is going to become a little more powerful than its current levels, because then police has the right to seek judicial custody over a period of 90 days at any duration during those 90 days, sir. So, because the idea being that cumulatively you should have a certain number of days in custody and you can ask it any time you want. I think that is going to make it difficult to seek bail, sir. I think police is going to get somewhat stronger, sir, in the initial investigation phase.
All right. Thank you, Yogesh. I pass on to our member.
Thank you, sir.
Yogesh, your optional is PSIR. Okay. There is a news item today that India is for this minerals, etc. India is in talks with some Western countries for securing the future. Have you come across that news item?
No, sir, not today, sir.
Not today. Okay. Yogesh, I think few days back, regarding UAPA, that UAPA, the Supreme Court has talked something about bail. What is that? UAPA cases.
So while I'm aware of the stringency of bail conditions under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, sir, I'll plead ignorance to exactly what the Honorable Supreme Court said recently, sir. But there's a reverse burden of proof in UAPA cases, sir. And so effectively, what happens is the rule of bail not jail is reversed in UAPA cases. Also, sir, I would plead ignorance.
That has been reiterated by Supreme Court that jail is the rule, bail is not the rule for UAPA cases.
Yes.
Yogesh, what are your views about this? There is a talk also going on nowadays about All India Judiciary Services. What are some pros and cons for this All India Judiciary Services?
Yes, sir. So, I'll take the pros first, sir. One, sir, I think there will be infusion of quality talent at the district level of judiciary, which is the first contact for any layman with the justice system, sir. Two, sir, it would infuse an all India spirit. So, for example, a Haryanvi judge serving in Tamil Nadu and vice versa. So, enforcement of laws would become more objective, sir. Three, sir, it would go a long way in dealing with the vacancies that are currently languishing in the district judiciary, sir. Fourth, sir, much of the elevation to the high courts happens in a somewhat ad hoc and arbitrary basis, sir. I think that would cease to an extent with prominent candidates in district judiciary knocking at the doors of high court judiciary, sir. Sir, the cons are the following, sir. One, sir, many of the judges who already served 20 to 25 years in the district judiciary feel that their prospects at serving in the higher judiciary might be depleted significantly. Then there is some resistance from states, especially southern states and northeastern states, about their control and administrative control, because the district judiciaries are under the joint control of the state executive and the high courts. So, sir, their powers of appointing judges to the states, sir, there might be depleted. Third, sir, the state governments are opposed to the idea. Some state governments are opposed to the idea based on linguistic basis also, sir. That affidavits are filed in local languages, so that might be hampered, sir.
No.
There are others, sir, but at this moment, sir, I think these.
Okay. Supreme Court is also seized with the issue regarding the preamble of the Constitution. The thought or the proposition is that how you can amend the preamble inserting secular and socialist words in I think 1976 or something, when the date itself is given in the preamble that we adopt this preamble on 26th of November 1949. So it means that this secular and socialist were adopted in 1949, but that is not the case. So that is going on. What is your view on this?
Yes, sir. Preamble. I have a rather legalistic view to this, sir, which has its own drawbacks, sir. So
tell me legalistic view.
Sir, I believe preamble, the Constituent Assembly that adopted preamble adopted it as part of the Constitution, sir. The resolution itself states so. And by virtue of Article 368, sir, every part of the Constitution is amenable to an amendment, whether it be preamble or any other part, sir. Now, sir, whenever any other part of the Constitution is amended, sir, there is no need per se to reflect within the text that this was amended at a later date, sir. The footnotes do that job, sir. So I think, sir, I think with the preamble also, sir, I think the footnotes should do the job. So now why it's a legalistic view, I agree, sir. But the reason I come up with a legalistic view is because I think of the converse, sir. If every amendment now needs to have a timestamp along in the text of the Constitution, sir, besides the preamble, that it would lead to a lot of rigidity.
But Yogesh, I am afraid other articles or sections of the Constitution book, they don't carry any date.
Yes, sir.
Preamble carries a date. Other things don't carry a fundamental duties or this fundamental rights or other sections. They don't carry any date. So it is quite easy to amend them because they don't carry any date. But this preamble in itself carries a date. So virtually what you have done, you have made it appear that this word were inserted in 1949, whereas in 1949 it was discussed, and after the discussion these two words were discarded.
Indeed, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So the argument that there is a strong argument, sir, that it might be perceived by some that the words were there in the original text itself, sir. And to that, sir, I always argue that I think that perception might be, I think there's a historical context to it, sir. Most people who are interested in the preamble sort of understand that it was added later on, sir. And even the preamble has its own footnotes, sir. The text of the Constitution, sir, has its own footnotes, sir. So I argue that perception might not be as strong as it is claimed, sir, by Mr. Subramanian Swamy and his lawyers, that there's a mass misperception among the populace that suddenly that these words were not inserted later. I do not think that misperception is so strong as the lawyers contend, sir.
Oh, thank you, Yogesh.
Thank you, sir.
Yogesh, tell me something about the Rakhi Gadi.
Yes, sir. Sir, Rakhi Gadi is a mature Harappan site based in Hisar, sir. Sir, it is now, along with Kalibangan, considered to be one of the largest sites from the mature Harappan phase in that region, sir.
Is there any attempt by Haryana government to develop it as a site for tourism? Anything, are you aware?
Sir, I vaguely remember that the Honorable Chief Minister announced a museum adjacent to the site, sir, and conservation fencing of area. But sir, beyond that, I would not.
Right. Yogesh, you worked in corporate sector for 1.5 years.
Yes, sir.
So tell me how Indian corporate sector is aligned with the need for social and environmental responsibilities,
Yes, sir.
both social and environmental.
So the most obvious example that comes to my mind is corporate social responsibility, sir. They have to commit a certain percentage of their profits, sir, to social work, for which they hire NGOs and other intermediaries to execute work, sir. As my cantonment board has been a beneficiary of some CSR activities, sir. Two, sir, I think SEBI has imposed strictures upon corporations in the way they conduct their business, sir. They are supposed to have charters, sir, the vision statements, charters and guidelines, sir, on how their business operates. They cannot ruthlessly draw resources without any responsibility. And third, sir, there are other legislations that, for example, sir, there's a forest conservation legislation, although I cannot recall, the Campa Fund, sir, which ensures that any corporate that reaps forestry basically ensures that there's another patch of land that is forested to the same effect.
Good. Tell me, is this international law a true law?
So there has been a significant debate on this issue, sir. The Austinian view versus the other view, sir. In my personal opinion, sir, I have to look at what implications or how strong international law is at present, sir. So while we may think of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Israel's invasion of Palestine in the short term, but sir, I always think of many dictatorial regimes that are more state-like, that are more statesman-like in international realm than in their own domestic policy. And I think, sir, to a large extent, the force of customary international law is very real with the states, sir.
Okay, good. Do you think this geoeconomics influence geopolitics? Can you think of some example?
Indeed, sir, there are forward and backward linkages between the two, sir. The most prominent example, because of Pakistan elections, sir, is the dramatic depletion of Pakistan's strategic terrain, sir, in the last 10 to 15 years, owing largely to its decline as an economy, sir, relative decline, sir. It's 1/10 of India's GDP. It has lost its place in economic landscape, sir. Two, sir, corollary rise of Bangladesh as an engine of economic prosperity in South Asia, sir, is the reason why India wants to bridge its northeast through Bangladesh, sir. And third, sir, the rise of China, sir. The geoeconomic heft that China deploys to persuade and coerce other countries tells us that there is a strong linkage between geoeconomics and geopolitics, sir.
Good. Yogesh, Honorable Chief Justice of India, he made a statement about a week back that one of the ways to curb this delayed justice is to put a time limit on oral arguments. So what is your view on this?
Indeed, sir, I welcome the comments by the Honorable Chief Justice of India. I think he's very sincere and about these remarks, sir. And I think if we are able to enforce time limits, if we are able to, sir, and district judiciary, it would be a great help, sir, because a majority of the time goes into oral arguments and routine adjournments. However, sir, at the same time, I feel that these that legal system would improve at a system as a whole, sir. For example, sir, Commercial Courts Act or the Uttar Pradesh Criminal Procedure Amendments, sir, they impose strict time limits for each stage of investigation, which unraveled within a couple of years, sir, because the larger system was not ready, sir, for these changes. Sir, police would still take as much time for investigation. Adjournments would still be sought, sir. So it is my personal opinion, sir, that changes in the legal system would have to be system-wide and not specific to a certain process of the process.
Okay, right. Thank you, Yogesh.
Good. Sir. So good morning, Yogesh.
Morning, sir.
So you are from Haryana.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I've heard about the reservation in private sector in Haryana. So what is the latest about it and your opinion about it?
Yes, sir. So my latest information is a little dated, sir. From what I remember, that the conglomerate of industries from Faridabad, sir, had filed a rejoinder in the Honorable Supreme Court against the move by Haryana government. but I do not know what
Tell
happened.
me about your opinion
Yes.
about reservation in private sector.
Yes, sir. So, one, sir, I believe it is against its Haryana's own interests, sir, or for that matter, any state that wants to industrialize at a rapid scale, sir. Because sir, the conglomerate of industries in Haryana themselves have opposed the move, sir. So the Gurgaon Technical Hub, sir, and the textile hub in Panipat and Faridabad-based industries have strictly opposed the rule and have even threatened to walk out of the state if the move is carried on, sir. Two, sir, constitutionally, sir, I think that if states can somehow get away with this, sir, it would create, instead of one large market, sir, our large market would be fragmented into small units. Sir, which would, and we would not be able to capitalize on the gains that we thought a large market brings, sir. Third, sir, I think restricting labor movement is always a bad idea in the medium to long term, sir. Because it eventually ends up raising labor prices and making the goods produced in that state less cost competitive, sir.
Okay, so Yogesh, tell me, should Haryana and Punjab have its own capital?
Sir, I think the process of providing for capital should be done on a need and administrative basis, sir. I think as of now, sir, with a very good agreement in place between Haryana and Punjab as to how Chandigarh is to be administered. It's a tripartite understanding or a tripartite regime, sir, if not an explicit agreement. I think that has not given much problem, much concern, sir. And both these states, sir, have alternative arrangements for offices. For example, for Haryana, it's Panchkula, and for Punjab, it's Mohali. So, sir, I think they exchange expertise between each other, sir. So, I think it's a fairly good arrangement what we have as of now, sir.
Yogesh, can you highlight geopolitical impact of bilateral relationship between India and Bhutan?
Yes, sir. Sir, Bhutan is one of the closest partners or friends that India has, sir. So, the geopolitical impact could be threefold. So, one, sir, India has has ensured that one of its neighbors that is sandwiched between China and India remains a staunch ally of India and has not turned into a satellite state of Beijing, sir. Two, sir, Bhutan is important for regional integration, sir. So Bhutan was the country that did not want to integrate as well with when the proposal for a cross. So there was a proposal for transit of vehicles, free movement proposal. So Bhutan was the reticent country there, sir. And I think it's significant for connectivity reasons, sir. Third, sir, Bhutan as a state there would always need access to sea, sir. So which it could only have through India, sir, through West Bengal and eventually through Bangladesh. So, sir, by ensuring access to sea to Bhutan, sir, we would always ensure that there is some leverage that India has over Bhutan, sir.
Now, coming to your extracurricular activities section. So, you are good in sports, cricket, football, basketball. So, tell me, role of administration and governance in popularity of sports. How far does it play, the role of administration?
Yes, sir. So, two ways that I can think of right now. So, one, district administration has a huge role to play in nurturing the talent at an earlier age, sir. Although individual sports have their own federations spanning state and district levels, sir. But for district-wide competitions, for inter-school competitions, district administration has a role to play in providing large enough grounds, stadiums, coaching facilities, sir. One. Two, sir, we have a very solid repertoire of players in football and basketball at the school level, sir. What happens is that it unravels as soon as students graduate from school, sir. I think district administration and more importantly, state administration can plug that gap, sir, by allowing for facilities at a large scale, sir, that Punjab and Haryana have done, sir.
You like to read about linguistics.
Yes, sir.
So tell me how languages are formed and how they work.
So there is a discipline-wide debate as to the origin of languages, sir. So there is one school of thought led by Noam Chomsky, the foremost linguist, modern linguist, sir, who argues that the language is an instinct and there is a universal generative grammar with which every individual in the world is born with, sir. So that means that language is encoded into the brain once you're born. So, although I'll move on to the next school, sir. The other school is sort of has its precursors in Ludwig Wittgenstein's ideas, sir, which argues that mind is pretty much a tabula rasa, that individuals are born and then they learn language after they are born, sir. So they pick up language from their society, sir. So there are debates about it. Another school argues that there was a genetic mutation around 70,000 years ago, some when the humans were walking out of Africa, and there are other schools, forth, sir. So, sir, this is about the creation.
Now moving on. So you like to watch historical dramas and documentaries. So which one would you recommend to everyone and why?
So earlier I would never be able to answer this question, but now because of the interview I've sort of learned to answer this question, sir. I think the best the historical drama that I enjoyed a lot, sir, is The Death of Stalin. It's a movie about Soviet Russia, sir, and the death of Stalin has taken place, and there is a battle among the members of the Politburo to gain the seat, sir, and it's about emergence of Nikita Khrushchev as the premier of Soviet Russia, and the fact about it that I really enjoy that it's a comedy, sir. So that's why I would always encourage everyone to watch that movie.
Okay, so thank you, Yogesh. I pass on to Chairman, sir.
Yogesh, India and the neighborhood governments, the countries, India has slightly lost its, its friendliness or maybe the good neighborly relations with its neighbors of late because of China's aggressive policies. Now, there are two ways in India's foreign policy. We continue with our present setup in which we keep aiding something or the other, humanitarian, this thing, good relations, connectivity, this, that. The other is to be more aggressive and change our policy to match China. What do you think should be India's stand?
Sir, I think India is positioned in its neighborhood like no other country, sir. So we are 70% of the population, 60% of the forces. We have a border with every other country, and none of the countries in the neighborhood have a border with each other. We're inextricably involved in the domestic politics of every country. So Madhyasis in Nepal, Hindus in Bangladesh, Tamils in Sri Lanka. So, sir, it's a sui generis case, sir. I think, sir, we do not have that binary choice between being confrontational or aid relations, sir. I think, sir, the only way we could emerge, because, sir, much of this is structural in nature, sir. We cannot do away with it by policy level works, sir. I think not the only way, one of the ways in which we can move forward is by ensuring our own economic rise, sir, becoming the engine of growth for all of South Asia, where it becomes logical for neighboring countries to intertwine with us at an economic level to better their own prosperity.
But this is what, Yogesh, China is doing, and we may not be able to match what China can offer. So, will it be a good strategy to keep matching China and get lost somewhere? Neither way, na maya mile na ram.
Sir, I have a twofold answer to that, sir. One, sir, about competition with China in the neighborhood, I think we have distinct advantages over China in the neighborhood, sir. Sir, Beijing is still too far out for Kathmandu, sir. We're much closer. Sir, if we can strengthen supply chains in the region, it will still be more cost effective for those states to do business with India than China. On the other hand, sir, in a comparison between China's development projects, so-called development projects, and our input to these countries, sir, I think the policy has been very well stated by the Honorable Foreign Minister himself, sir, that we ought to not match China dollar by dollar, but invest in high impact development projects, sir. The HIPs that they are called, if I'm not mistaken, sir, which work at a very Gram Panchayat level in Bangladesh.
Yogesh, good. So, Yogesh, we are almost on the verge of closing our interview. But before that, if you think that any of your DAF areas has been left out, I can ask you one last question.
No, sir. My worry all the time is that people will leave out linguistics, sir. But I think that has been covered, sir. So I'm happy, sir.
So thank you, Yogesh. We'll call you again for the feedback.
Thank you,
Meanwhile, you can be in the next room.
Thank you, sir.
So, Yogesh, we first asked the candidate how he or she thinks he has or she has done. So, what is your impression about your own performance today?
Sir, I think it was a decent performance.
Decent. So, yes, it was very decent, Yogesh. You did very well. And you're a good personality. And obviously, you have been in the government. You have that, I would say the culture of, government with some experience, and you've qualified as service already. So, you were able to communicate very well. You were confident throughout. You were in a good conversation mode. It was very nice. 2-3 things which you can improve upon, which the panel felt not very serious, but it's better that you and you have time. So be a little brief. You have a tendency to go a little lengthier. Maybe you have the problem of plenty. So you will have to pick up the more important ones and leave the remaining ones, and leave it to the member in case they want to ask you something more on that. They always have the freedom and the liberty. But if you keep speaking, then their liberty is lost, and all the time they will not like to pinprick you and say, okay, stop it. So that is something which is a little conspicuous. Be a little careful. Now that calls for a more structured answer. When I say lengthy and structured, it means the same thing. In order to put all your points in a less lengthy manner, the best way is to structure it. So, if I were to answer the question which I asked first, how India is prepared, this, right? So, even in the initial phase, you were a little confused and lost about the C and all. You started with something, somebody had said this, somebody had said this. I want you to say that. Not I. The members will want you to say your idea. Some Panikkar, some other chief of air staff and Manik Shaw, whatever. We are not concerned with that. Unless there is a specific question, कि who had said this, क्यों लाते हो? अपने thoughts बनाओ. अब हम सब thoughts कोई बचपन से वो सीख के थोड़ा ना आते हैं. We acquire thoughts and adopt them. Our parents tell 2 things, we adopt one, we don't adopt the other one. That becomes your idea. So that is one. And you should start with this. Yes, sir. This statement does make a lot of sense because, and then you start off with what is happening around the world. How are our own enemies building? South China Sea has become very important. Indian Ocean has become very important. Red Sea has become very important. It will make your answer a bit more relevant and very, जैसे ना एक वो punch आएगा उसमें. And as far as India's preparedness is concerned, we are quite prepared. We may not be able to match what China has. Now for that you will have to थोड़ा बहुत इंडिया, चाइना, पाकिस्तान की डिफेंस प्रिपेयर्डनेस और डिफेंस की क्या क्या है थोड़ा सा आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा.
Yes.
क्योंकि डिफेंस है ना आपको.
Yes.
और किसी से डिफेंस का पूछ ही नहीं सकते ज़्यादा, तो कोई यार कहाँ इनको पता होगा, जनरल इनका बैकग्राउंड से पूछो. So your real estate, I mean, estate services doesn't mean that you don't. So you are representing the entire defense sector. इस तैयारी के साथ जाओ आप. आपसे कैंटोनमेंट में नहीं जाएंगे वो पूछने की कैंटोनमेंट में क्या होता है. ठीक है ना. इसको थोड़ा सा लार्जर फ्रेम में डिफेंस को एज अ होल तैयार कर लो, एंड स्पेशली व्हेन द एंटायर वर्ल्ड इज गोइंग थ्रू दिस काइंड ऑफ टर्मोइल. तो उसमें आपका IR भी है चूँकि, इसलिए आपका डिफेंस से रिलेटेड चीज़ें इजराइल हमास की भी आ सकती हैं. इसको अच्छे से कर लो बस. बट यू हैव द कैलिबर टू प्रिपेयर इट. इट्स जस्ट दैट you are narrating a little more. That is one. The second small point is that you need to read current affairs. You said in 2-3 questions answers you said, I have not gone into the details. I have not been able to see. I had a cursory glance. These are all safety measures, safety walls. It doesn't reflect a good personality. Are you getting my point? If I am wrong, please don't blame them. मैंने बस थोड़ा सा ही देखा था. So you're protecting yourself. So as a civil servant, in this interview, don't give that impression. Either you know or you don't know. And if you try that you know, if you think you know, then you have the risk of going wrong.
Yes, sir.
Right? So your mind will tell whether to get into that area or not. But don't use these phrases. All right? And ये भी नहीं कि सर I read the newspaper today, this, that. कि sir, yeah, I have read this, that this. I would not be able to give more details about it. बस पता लग गया कि भाई एक थोड़ा सा पहले से आप वो राइडर मत लगाओ. सब्जेक्ट टू दिस. अगर मैं गलत हूँ तो मुझे मत कहना, मैं पहले ही कह दिया था आपको. द ब्लेम इज कमिंग ऑन अस. इसको अवॉइड कर लो. ये 2 चीज़ें हैं जो आपको बहुत रेडिली यू कैन डू. अदरवाइज योर ग्रिप ऑन लॉ इज एक्सीलेंट. आई लाइक योर आंसर्स ऑन UCC एंड उससे रिलेटेड और भी राइट टू प्राइवेसी का कोई लॉ वो है पढ़ लेना, क्योंकि ये आपसे 22 फरवरी तक ये चलता रहेगा अभी तो, है ना. और क्रिमिनल लॉज में आप यू स्टक ओनली टू कस्टडी. इतना विस्तार से मत बताओ. मतलब आपने एक कस्टडी कह के बात खत्म कर दी. देयर आर मेनी मोर, है ना. उसमें स्पेशल एग्जीक्यूटिव मैजिस्ट्रेट्स का भी बनाया है. उसमें और भी कुछ एक चीज़ें आप पढ़ लीजिएगा. एविडेंसेस का भी दिया हुआ है. सो आज तक स्पेशल एग्जीक्यूटिव मैजिस्ट्रेट पुलिस को नहीं बनाने का प्रॉब्लम. तहसीलदार नायब तहसीलदार बन जाते हैं जब इलेक्शंस होते हैं तो सभी. बट पुलिस का एग्जीक्यूटिव मैजिस्ट्रेट नहीं बनाते कि भाई चलो यू बिकम एग्जीक्यूटिव मैजिस्ट्रेट्स. वो केवल जो कमिश्नर्स बने हुए हैं पुलिस के वो ही रहते हैं. दे हैव बीन गिवन द पावर्स बिकॉज ऑफ द virtue of being the commissioners. So this is all I thought I should share with you, because you are a very bright candidate and we have a lot of expectations from you to rise to the IAS level. Okay?
Yogesh, you are a very, very promising candidate. You got a very good personality, a very graceful personality. Your way of talking, communication, they are very, very, good attributes, very good things with you. You possess those good, fine qualities. As far as your answers are concerned, lengthy answers. Avoid lengthy answers. Don't go in an explanatory mode sort of thing, You have to be quite specific, point-wise, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. And I think you can avoid the prefacing or, such type of, just come directly to the issue, the questions. Okay, this is that, this is something like that. So if you have a preface which introduces a lot, some explanations, then come to the point, so it becomes quite a lengthy thing. So that is not advisable. So this is one thing. And second thing is that you should update yourself with the current affairs. Current affairs, specifically through newspapers and magazines, current affairs, whether international issues or national issues. This is important.
Yes, sir.
This is very important for you, for the current things. So I find these two things in you. Besides the other things I find good. You're very good. Your command is good over the language. A very pleasing, communication. Very effective communication and pleasing communication. So I appreciate that. But these two, if you take care of these two things, then you can be sure of a very good results at your final interview. Okay? All the best.
I think, Yogesh, all points have been covered. Nothing much to add from my side. Maybe a little bit of voice, if you could raise, volume of your voice.
Yes, sir.
And keep a little bit of smiling disposition. That smile was missing. Otherwise, you have a very pleasing personality. You are very confident, very balanced, relaxed. I think everything was very good. And just maybe in some questions you can, I found that some depth was missing. For example, in corporate sector, you could touch upon this ESG compliance now.
Yes, sir.
ESG compliance, which has now been made mandatory by SEBI for 1,000, I think 1,000 companies.
Yes, sir.
Right. Otherwise, you are very good. I'm sure you will do well. Little bit be to the point.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All the best.
तो योगेश ओवरऑल आपने काफ़ी अच्छा किया है. सो नथिंग न्यू टू ऐड. बस ये जो कॉमन चीज़ आ रही है, अवॉइड गिविंग बैकग्राउंड एंड स्ट्रेट अवे कम टू द पॉइंट. यही एक मेन ऑब्जर्वेशन है. कंटेंट है आपके पास, लेकिन इधर उधर से आ रहा है ना, तो थोड़ा सा उसकी वेटेज कम हो जाती है. मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ. मैंने हिस्टोरिकल ड्रामा का पूछा, आप क्या बोल रहे हो? अर्लियर आई वॉज नॉट एबल टू आंसर. आप अर्लियर पे क्यों जा रहे हो? अभी की बात कर रहे हैं ना हम. बट नाउ आई वुड बी एबल टू आंसर, क्योंकि मैंने डैफ में लिखा है. ये देखो, ये प्रीफिक्स एंड सफिक्स आप छोड़ दीजिए, स्ट्रेट अवे कम टू द पॉइंट. नंबर 2, कुछ चीजों में आप थोड़ा सा ज्यादा डीप चले जा रहे हो. अब सिंपल लिंग्विस्टिक हॉबी के ऊपर क्वेश्चन है, उसमें आप थोड़ा इमोशनल होकर बहुत डिटेल में चले गए, तो मेरे को रोकना पड़ा. तो जनरली क्या हुआ, आई हैड 3 more questions बट 30 minutes वर ओवर. सो यू आर नॉट गिविंग योरसेल्फ एन अपॉर्चुनिटी. तो बाय कमिंग स्ट्रेट टू द पॉइंट आप थोड़े क्रिस्प हो जाओगे. फायदा करेगा आपको, मार्क्स इंक्रीज हो जाएंगे.
So, Yogesh, any questions from your side?
Sir, can I wear this to the interview? Sir?
No. नेता लग रहा हो. हरियाणा में ऐसे ही पहनते हैं ज्यादा.
It's the all the officers in
समझिए
Himachal.
कि आप खट्टर साहब को ज्वाइन करने वाले हैं. और इलेक्शन है भी वैसे. कुछ ब्यूरोक्रेट्स रिजाइन करके ज्वाइन करते हैं ना. That's a lighter way. No, ये wear a normal.
Yes.
Don't be abnormal in any manner. Just एकदम ध्यान जाए. You know? Do what the Romans do.
Yes, sir.
और पूछो.
नहीं सर.
तो ये चीज़ें थोड़ी सी मतलब बहुत करने लायक हैं.
सर वो एक्चुअली करंट अफेयर्स थोड़े वीक.
हाँ, करंट अफेयर्स छोड़ो, वो तो चलो नहीं आता, वो नहीं आता, नहीं पढ़ा तो नहीं पढ़ा. वो तो चांस की भी बात है, क्या पूछा है ना.
yes,
बड़ी दुनिया में से क्या पूछ सकते हैं. बट जो बाकी जो चीज़ें आपके सामने आई हैं ना, ये बार बार राइडर, पहले आप अपना एक बेस बना लेते हो, फिर उसके बाद जन यू स्टार्ट आराम से, जैसे वो कोई मीटिंगों में अपन सरकारी में जब आप चेयर करते हो ना मीटिंग, तो आप बड़े सबको सुनना ही पड़ता है आपकी बात, है ना. आराम से अपने बोलते जाओ. सिक भी हो रहे हैं, लंच का टाइम भी हो गया, तो भी कुछ नहीं कह सकते. सर कोई बात नहीं, अभी तो वैसे कोई दिक्कत नहीं, वो मत करो. यू हैव टू बी वेरी क्रिस्प. ठीक है. So we have given you 66% today.
182 marks.
So
this
Yogesh,
was precisely my score last time.
how much you got?
So 182, sir.
So but Yogesh, 182 आया तो तुम तो फिर नहीं आ पाओगे अगर मेहनत वैसे ही हुआ है तो खींचना पड़ेगा.
ऊपर 190 क्रॉस करो.
ले जाओगे तुम 70% तक तो जाना ही चाहिए.
I will definitely.
कितने मार्क्स से रह गए थे टॉप में?
सर 1 mark से ऑडिट एंड अकाउंट्स मेरा ऊपर था सर. आईपीएस नहीं भरा था. तो 1 mark I missed ऑडिट एंड अकाउंट्स, एंड उसके बाद सीधा आईएएस था.
आईएएस कितना मार्क्स से मिस होगा?
सर आईएएस आई वुड हैव मिस्ड बाय सर आई थिंक 11 to 12 marks.
बताओ. 70 ले लोगे तो 190 समथिंग हो जाता है, 193, तो वो निकल आए तुम्हारे 11, एग्जैक्ट 11। वहाँ भी ऐसे ही किया होगा तुमने लास्ट टाइम भी, लंबा लंबा किया होगा।
सर यस सर।
हाँ, थोड़ा क्रिस्प और थोड़ा जीवंत नजर आओ, थोड़ा सा अलाइव नजर आओ। यू वर लाइकली यू नो लेड बैक तो नहीं कहेंगे फुल्ली, लेकिन एनर्जी में थोड़े कम थे।
स्माइल मैंने बताया ना,
एक्साइटेड लगो, जैसे यार बिल्कुल अफ्रेश आप कर रहे हो। टेंडेंसी क्या ब्यूरोक्रेट्स में होती है। अब आप भी जब बन जाओगे सेक्रेटरी या कहीं पहुंचोगे तो कहेंगे यार इसमें वो 3 साल रह लिया ना IDS में, अब वो 2 साल जो भी है ना, अब वो बस सरकारी हो गया है। और ब्राइट एक लड़का जिसको पता ही नहीं कुछ, क्लीन स्लेट। अपन तो IAS वाला तो क्लीन स्लेट ही होता है, तभी इफेक्टिव होता है। कुछ भी नहीं पता और जिज्ञासा है सब जानने की, आप समझ रहे हैं? वो जिज्ञासा दिखाओ, ठीक है? जैसे कुछ भी नहीं है IDS में, तुम्हें पता है लेकिन अभी एक्साइटमेंट है पूरी है आप में, है ना? यू हैव नॉट स्टेल नहीं हो गए हो आप फॉर द सिस्टम। ओके, ऐसा करो। ऑल द बेस्ट।
ऑल द बेस्ट।
Thank you so much, sir.
All the best.